In a world where equality is just another euphemism for mediocrity, where participation is more highly valued than achievement, where just enough to get by is the new standard of excellence, there is a small minority of people who fight back against such apathy, who struggle daily to reach new heights. These brave few are the hope for the future, the bright shining light for the next generation. They are the ones who will lead us to the places we have never dreamed of, to the undiscovered country, to reach goals only a few can even begin to imagine. Unfortunately, none of those people could be here tonight, so kick back and relax. Prepare yourself for several hours of fun, friendship, fascinating conversation, and fabulous music. All those F's, that's an alliteration and kind of a radio trick. Speaking of radio, you're listening to the most popular radio station in the history of broadcast radio, at least among stations that originate from Chris's living room. It's Curious Times. Your host is a curious listener. Here she is, Chris.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you. Welcome to Curious Times. It's I should rename it Intuit Times. What do you think? Should I rename my show Intuit Times? No. Okay. Maybe that'll be I can make that be an episode title. I'll have one show called Intuit Times. And so anyway, it is Wednesday, December 7th. Interesting day. Barbara DeLong is here. It's going to be your last chance to get a reading from Barbara DeLong in this calendar year on this here radio show. You heard it here first. And so don't linger. What do you mean, where's Chris? Am I here? Yeah, into Chris. Okay. You better tell her to refresh her page, okay? Thanks. I didn't know if I was here or not. I'm all like, well, I need to have somebody to tell me that I'm freaking here. Thank you so much for that. And somebody, yeah, thanks, Heath. See, Heath, I need you, Heath. I've been missing you. I have been missing you, man. Okay. And so it is your last chance, you guys. So don't dilly-dally. And there's a really good chance that if there's not much going on and Barbara and I run out of stuff to talk about and there's nobody wanting readings, we're going to cut bait and get the hell out of here early. I might throw on some music to reel through, but and leave you guys to your own or whatever, if you guys all want to still hang out around here. And 4x4 loud and clear. Oh, am I too loud? I'm just kidding. Nice to see you too, Deb. And about synchronicity, well, it's supposed to be a reading show. Okay? A reading show. Which is why I would have said it's your last chance to get reading from Barbara this year. And so that was clue number one, that it's a reading show. And so okay. Crazy synchronicity, Deb, oh my gosh, like that's craziness. And so that you came today, because I was thinking about you quite a bit earlier, and your name might have even come up, just not in bad or any, just as an example of something. And now I really got, she's all like, what? I'm dropping all these things, and now people are going, what's going on? See, lack of sleep. Okay, Barbara's here. Let me tell you quickly what's coming up in the next little bit. Jen Young is here. Theoretically, Jen Young is here tomorrow. Selva Dutton here Friday. Saturday, day off. Sunday, Dr. Ida Green. Monday, day off. Tuesday, Melissa Bruce, which will be our last chance to talk about astrology with Melissa Bruce this year. And so maybe we'll get a little highlight of what's coming up in 2017. Jenny Satori loves it when I go 2017. Oh, like say the O. 2000. In the aught years, I was like all 2002, 2003. I'm ridiculous. And I don't know why I couldn't just say 2002 and 2003 or whatever. But anyhow, Kathleen Moore is here a week from tonight. So I can't go any further really without firstly saying that the day kind of starts, like the day really didn't end until what's today? Wednesday? Tuesday didn't end until about 2 hours ago when I went to lay down to catch a little shut-eye. But nonetheless, so I'm up in the wee hours of the morning and quite by fluke, actually not by fluke at all. My friend Yvette Howell PM'd me on Skype, and I always tell people, hit me up on Skype because if I'm here, I'll see it. I get the little orange blinky on the bottom of my computer screen. And because I'm out of the loop on Facebook, I don't pay attention. And so Yvette informed me of the crossing that Linda Crystal has crossed over, passed away. Very talented, multi-talented woman. She was battling with cancer, but working her ass off right to the end anyway. And so at 4:30 a.m. Eastern time, the other side got her. Okay. I found her to be a very unique woman, very talented in many different ways, as I said, but called herself a forensic astrologer. Never heard that term before. I did have her on my show a couple of times. She did actually give me a reading way back, and remember, she did my chart. Remember? I'm going to have to go back and listen to that. But like, I remember her talking about, plumbing problems, blah, blah, blah. You guys that have been following my show, you remember my whole thing, like for almost a year, I couldn't even have a shower because I had this like leaking pipe, and I wound up cutting through the ceiling to fix it, and once it was an easy fix, blah, 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 blah. Got that all fixed and everything. So like she hit on quite a few little things like that wound up, coming true. And so, now she's going to be somebody that I'm going to definitely, take some time and try and get some EVPs, from Linda Crystal. You could catch her. For those of you guys that don't know her, very well. She did a show on Blog Talk Radio, and she focused on missing people, and she would run their numbers and blah, 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 and this whole thing like that. So, there's all, hopefully her archives will stay, and, people will be able to go back and check. But she has been and then she would do like little books, little the forecast in little booklet style or whatever. No, she was doing all the way up to the end. All the way up to the end, she worked, even though she might not have been on the radio all the way up to then. But she tried to come back, and I regrettably missed the past couple of her shows. Wait a second now. Maybe I was there for her last show. I'd have to go back and look. But anyway, all of that aside, some crazy synchronistic stuff started to come and happen after I found that out. And I'm not going to make Barbara wait much longer, and I may continue to talk about this, unless Barbara has something, unless Barbara has something she wants to talk about, which would be 10,000 billion times more interesting than anything I have to say. You all know Barbara DeLong. She's the host of her own show on many different places, at least two, right now, and that's Blog Talk Radio and Freedom Slips, and that's Nightlight with Barbara DeLong, and she's been doing that for a long, long time, not just doing readings, but also anything, you could call it paranormal, but there's another word for it, which is eluding me right now. Not even supernatural. There's still a different word for it. But anyhow, she's very well studied in very many areas, and she has a very comprehensive website that you guys should really check out for all kinds of interesting and a depth of information on some very interesting topics, and that's at www.barbaradelong.com. She also has a little documentary up on YouTube, and you can find that at youtube.com, and look up the username Oracle Tracker. And she's designed and developed her own tarot deck called the Cosmic Deck of Initiation. Very, very nice deck, and very unique in that the cards are circular. And she has a book called Whispers of Spiritual Wisdom. And you can get both of the cards and the book on Amazon. Just look up Barbara DeLong on Amazon. So she's been a regular guest of mine for a good long time, and I've appreciated that very much. And we've had a lot of very interesting conversations, and I learn something every time Barbara DeLong comes around. So let me just go get Barbara on now. Hi, Barbara. How are you? Sorry to make you wait.
Oh, no, that's okay. I like to hear you ramble.
At a million miles, you can tell. The faster I'm talking, probably the tireder I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know. I've been there. Sometimes it's hard to follow, but I know you have a direction in mind. It just isn't making it to your mouth from time to time.
Right, and then I like, oh, look, a shiny thing, and then
let's look at this.
If you stay tuned long enough, I might just swing back around and tie up a couple of those loose ends that
your train of thought is definitely a local tonight.
So listen, I had the most bizarre things, right? So Linda Crystal passed away, and so then that's at my early morning hours here. And right in and around the same time, like I was checking email. Now, a little while back, maybe a couple weeks back, or maybe even, I don't even know, like November 21. There was obviously an email in my personal email account, and it was like one of those LinkedIn, and I had thought I deleted my LinkedIn. I tried without success to delete my LinkedIn account. And so there was one of those, and I get them from time to time that says such and such, do you know such a person, or this person looked at your profile or whatever. And so and I never click on them, but so I clicked on it that time. And it took me there. I even had to go and try and hunt down, I maybe even had to get LinkedIn to send me a new password reset. Okay? And so then I go, and I don't even know how to use LinkedIn. And so like blah, blah, blah. Then the other day, I had another message or whatever, like LinkedIn, blah, blah, and like maybe December 1st. And so I clicked that time, and like such and such a person has been looking at your profile, wants to make contact or something like that. And I click on the thing, and I don't really know nothing. I don't see nothing. I don't know how the freaking thing works. But what was interesting to me is that this person is like a manager person in the government of Alberta, blah, 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 blah. I'm all like, what? Why would somebody like that be interested in looking at my little file on there? And so this morning in the wee hours, all right in around this time that I'm finding out, about Linda and all that kind of thing, I got another email that's sort of saying like such and such, like that there's, so I go to LinkedIn, there's a little private message thing or an email message or so, click on the damn thing, and the woman is saying, like, hi, I know it's been a long time. Hi, Kristen, and almost nobody calls me Kristen. You know what I mean? And hi, Kristen, it's been a long time, I know, blah, blah, blah. And how would you like to get together for coffee? And I'm all like, this highly placed manager in the government of Alberta, blah, 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 wants to get together and have coffee with me? Do they have the right person? And I can see the picture of this person. And I'm like, lady, I don't have the clue who you are. You know what I mean? And she's talking so familiar with me. And so I'm like sitting here, well, how do I do this? Because there could be a job lead in this. But now it's not a great way to start off by saying, I don't have enough an idea who you are. You know what I mean? First of all, who are you? And so I kind of wrote like, you're gonna have to, refresh my memory. And so anyhow, she writes. So then some other things were going on. I may get onto, but then I get a message back, and she's all like, "It turns out that it's my brother's ex-wife," which I didn't know that my brother got a divorce. And so, like, seeing these words in printing, like it's your sister-in-law, I'm all like, that's foreign to me to see stuff like that. So it's just my sister-in-law, who's been divorced from my brother for a number of years apparently, who doesn't have any, she's told me I don't have any contact with your parents and very minimal contact with your brother. Would you like to get together for coffee? I'm all like, but see, I slipped this in when I wrote to her, and I said, when she wrote me that, I wrote her back and I said, oh, please forgive me. I said, I'm actually looking for work, and so I was trying to place you professionally. I thought, that this was where the connection was. And so I slipped that little bit in, right? That maybe she can help me get a job so I said, sure, I'd love to get together with you. But in the meanwhile, I'm all like, what in the world does this woman want to have coffee with me for? You know what I mean? Like, a very, very interesting. But I don't really care if I can get a job out of it. I'm all for it. Smile, my sister-in-law. Oh, my brother, he's a dirty dog, isn't he? And so anyway, I don't know. She wants to. I met the woman once or twice. You know what I mean? Just briefly. I was over. Like when I went to my brother's house way back and had supper there. She was a very nice woman and everything like that, you know what I mean? But why would she wanna, it's
maybe she's interested in the radio show.
I don't think she would have just I don't know. She said something along the lines of, like maybe it's age and let's see, she's like, here, let me click to there, because the way she had written it is almost like, Barbara, how when we start to get a little, and we start to contemplate other things outside of, the day-to-day grind or whatever. And so she goes, she says, okay, she goes, first off, I'm hoping I have the right person. I'm your sister-in-law. I guess it's age and life perspective that's made me want to reach out and say hello and see how you're doing. If you would like to get together and catch up, that would be great. And then she follows up by assuring me that she doesn't have anything to do with my parents and she barely ever sees my brother, But so age and life perspective. Well, I'd be happy to talk about life perspective once I'm employed. And so anyhow,
people go through those periods of time, Chris, where they want to reach out and reconnect with people they haven't seen or spoken to in a very long time, and just catch up and see if you age better than they did.
But the idea here is just like that. Let's say I did not know the woman at all. I didn't know my brother was married and had kids, blah, blah. I found out through the grapevine. And once upon a time, after 16 years of estrangement from my brother, somebody lets me know he's been trying to find me. And so I go, well, I'll contact my brother. I've got no problem doing that. And so we communicated a little bit, blah, blah, blah. We met at a restaurant, blah, blah, blah. He then thought, I guess, that I was safe enough to bring to his home and meet his children and his wife. And so I had supper there one night. And that's basically the sum total of my knowing that that's my point, is like there's what catch up on what. So, I mean, anyway, it's interesting. It's interesting in the timing as well. You know what I mean? And so, it's been funny for me most of the time. Like, it's like little things like this are what happen that end up leading for me to get a next job. I think I might get a job. And that might not have been her initial reason for getting in touch with me, but I think that the universe sent this. The universe sent this, and I am absolutely going to go for coffee. I'm even going to let her buy. And she said maybe next week. So if I'm going to turn around and draw, I'll go like, well, let's meet on Wednesday, and I'll let you buy me a coffee for my birthday. You know what I mean? And then I'll like and then I'll pile it all on, and then say, I'm about to die of freezing to death because of my furnace, and I have no job. I need a job. Can you please have a job? Find me a job. And so we'll see what happens with that. I found that to be really strange. What a crazy. And then a bunch of other synchronicity things happen today. And so it's an interesting day, Barbara DeLong. What's going on with you?
Oh, not a whole lot. Let's see. Our favorite friend, Grant Collier, decided not to show up for his show with me Monday night.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. He booked in September. 8 or 10 messages later, you know, he's coming. Nope, he's not there. And I mean, it's not like I don't read as well. So, you know, it was a great show. But I was very disappointed in him. It's not a, you know, if he couldn't make it, if he was sick, if he overslept, you know, I don't care. If he'd had any sort of an excuse and said, I'm so sorry I can't make it, I would have been fine. But to just not respond to all of the requests that I made of him.
Yeah, and well, at least he didn't show up and like at showtime and then disappear and not ever talk to you again. You know what I mean? Like, that's weird. So I'm sorry that happened to you, Barbara.
No, it was a reading show. I read, so there was no problem. And, you know, there were like 15 or 18 calls. So, you know, it was a busy show. And it was just, it wasn't that things fell apart because he wasn't there, because I didn't care. I could do the readings. But, you know, it's the, you know, if you say you're going to be someplace, you be someplace. And if you can't make it, it's perfectly acceptable to call and explain that you can't make it and you're sorry. That's fine. So, and I finally, I wrote him and said, you know, I'm sorry that you couldn't make the show, and I don't think we're going to try this again. Communication just doesn't work, and it made it very difficult for my team. That would be me. Yeah. And and you know, he's not the only fish in the ocean, so to speak. But anyhow, that was fun. And Saturday I am going to go. We have in the town next to me a house tour of old houses at the holiday season. And each year the Women's Club picks 6 different houses, 2 from the 1700s, 2 from the 1800s, and 1 from the early 1900s. And so one of the houses that was built in 1770 was the setting and the place where the book Acquiescence took place. It's the people who owned it. The woman wrote a book about how they turned up there and how they found there was a spirit in the house and the store, and how they were able to validate the spirit's name. And they went to the historical society, and yes, a woman of that name was there, and they found her grave, and they found hints to the story of her life in the house as they were fixing it up. And so I'm going to go and be in the room that she appeared in and talk about the spirits that are around as people come through the house tour, which should be lots of fun. I think you muted your... Oh, there you are.
No. So are you, is your sister dropping by for Christmas this year?
It may be a drive-by, yeah. No, yes, that was funny, yeah. Holy crap. Yes, she's done clever things in her time frame. She's a unique and unusual person. And let me see.
Drive longer than you stay. Right? Like drive longer than you, drive for 8 hours to stay for 2 and get the hell out of there.
No, they arrived on Christmas Eve. We had dinner. Yeah. We opened presents, and at 7 o'clock in the morning, they woke us up to say goodbye because they wanted to skip the traffic. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know if you do Facebook anymore, but I lost another cat. Another one of my cats passed away.
Oh, I did not know that. No, I'm not paying attention to Facebook.
Yeah, I saw. I'm down to 2 cats, and I'm now shopping for kittens.
Aww.
I have 2 grown-ups, and I figure I can bring in 2 kittens. So, and you know, usually you stumble over people who are trying to give away kittens. I can't find any kittens. You know, I know when the time is right, I'll find them.
Yeah, I see a little orangey, not quite like orangey, slightly orangey cat. Not a real orange, but I think one of your kittens is gonna have a little bit of orange.
Creamsicle color, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, with a lot of white though, you know.
Well, I alerted my vet. I said I'm looking for 2 kittens, but if there's a litter of 3 you have to place, I'll take all 3.
Oh, that's so awesome. Oh, I can hardly wait to see pictures. I love little kittens and little puppies, you know. I just love, it's like kittens especially. I don't know what no, and puppies too. I can't decide. That's why I'm getting a little baby kitten and a little baby puppy on the same day, bringing them home together. And that's what because I can't decide. And it's dangerous to have a dog and then bring a cat, or have a cat and then bring a puppy, because one of them, the dog loses an eye in the exchange. You know what I mean?
Well, I have found that, you know, if you bring babies in, no matter what you've got, everything's fine. And I have found that every dog I ever owned, I always had cats, but every dog always had a scar on their nose. You know, the cat saying, I am the alpha. Just, you know, so long as you respect that, your life is fine. And they all had, I can think of 4 dogs. They all had that scar on their nose, and that's all that was needed. So, I love puppies too. I love dogs. I picked out a couple that I would love to have, but they take a lot more care than cats do. And you know, so I am a cat lady. Lizzie Starr named me a cat lady a gazillion years ago, and at that time I think I had 9 or 10 cats at that time. So
I know you had about 7 whenever I first met you.
Yeah, and so I had 6 when Patrick moved in, and he brought 3, so I had 9 at that time.
Yeah.
And and I said, you know, it's really too many, but I can't possibly part with any of them, so I let attrition do it. And it's, you know, I have one of his and one of mine now, and it's time for kittens.
Yeah. See, you can't even mention kittens, and I was
And I insist that they be, you know, 8-10 weeks old. Can't be older. They have to be babies.
Yeah. When the other night, I swear to God, I laid on the couch and I got this visual, I was all I wasn't pretending and being crazy, but I had this just for no reason. I wasn't thinking about cats at all, but I had this this sort of visual or whatever of a little baby kitten like laying on my chest, while I was laying down. I know. Well, I love that.
You can turn your heat down a degree if you have kittens.
I know, right? Hey, I'm all like, that's probably the best way to get employment is get a pet. Because the minute I get a pet, then all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, I got it. Shit, now I got a job. And now I got to, leave the poor thing and figure it out. And it's when they're little babies, you want to be watching everything. Because that's where you got to, like, get them off the chewing wires. And, like, you got to cut that out instantly. You can't let that be a habit for them.
Well, I really have to do this because my 11-year-old is my mouser. And he's got to train a kitten to be a mouser as well. Because my older cat, Bandit, hunted with Leo, and Bandit always caught the mice. And then when they were gone, Leo would pick it up and go around growling like he had caught it. Now he is my mouser, and he's great. The only trouble is, Tuesday night, I was on Paramania, and I was doing a reading, and I heard him coming in chuckling, and I looked, and here he had a mouse in his mouth. I'm doing a reading on this show, and he puts the mouse down, and it moves. And so I got up, and I put a plastic container over it, and the lady who lives up in my upstairs, I called her, and Jen Young was on the show too. It was Jen's show. And I said, Jen, you take it from here. I have to catch a mouse. And so we caught the mouse, and we got the mouse outside. Of course, we threw it out in the snow. It probably froze to death, but at least it didn't die in the house. So anyhow, he's got to train the next generation. And, that
would be good for you. You know what I mean? That's going to be good for you. I can't wait to see pictures.
Well, I will definitely flood my Facebook with them when that happens.
Sure you will. There's the cute factor drives me crazy with little kittens. And before you blink a few times, they're already like getting big. And so that's very precious time when they're.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Babies like that, and so there you go. That's cool. So you're gonna hang around the homestead for Christmas then, and try and chill.
Oh yeah, no, I'll be. Yeah, I went down to Virginia for a week and stayed with Jeannie. Jeannie has. Oh yeah, Jeannie has 5 dogs, 4 huskies,
wow.
and a retriever that thinks he's a husky. And I came back. All of my clothes had to be packed inside out when I came home because they were so covered with dog hair that it was amazing. I brought enough dog hair home with me to knit an extra dog.
Wow.
And they're huskies, so they talk. And they are they're couch trained. They do believe that the couches belong to them. So if you sit down, they will sit on you. And it's really and I love them. They're sweet, wonderful dogs. They're just charming. But holy mackerel, it was 5 dogs. 5 dogs. I got her a sweatshirt for. I got her a sweatshirt for Christmas that says Vermeer Kennels.
5 dogs is a lot more expensive to feed than 5 cats.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah, she probably, I don't want to know her dog food bill for 5 big dogs like that,
Holy mackerel. And what's really cool is they're so big, they go in the pantry and they take food out of the pantry. But it's not as bad as when Patrick and I went down for Thanksgiving to Jeannie and her family's house in Virginia. We took our German Shepherd down, Crystal. And Crystal was young, but big, fully grown, and it mixed with her dogs very well. It was just fine, and we were sitting at the table after we'd finished eating, and Crystal wandered into the kitchen, and the family room where the table were all one room. Crystal got up on the counter and took the carcass of the turkey and then took it to the couch to chew on it. And, and it horrified everybody. Well, no, it horrified Patrick. Everybody else laughed. And it was one of those Thanksgivings that nobody will forget. Just our faces as she, calmly got up on the counter, took the turkey, and went to the couch and sat down and started eating.
Stuff like that's worth $10,000 on the home video show. You know what I mean? Like
I wish that we had videotaped it, because it was like, she's not doing that, is she? Yeah, she is. And we all watched. Nobody got up. It was really kind of, you're so shocked, you don't move.
Well, dog's got that kind of moxie, you know what I mean? I guess you got dinner, dog. I guess you freak out, though, because the poultry bones are the ones that can hurt dogs.
She didn't have it that long to get hurt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I got it away from her real fast. I mean, she wasn't growling or anything. It was like, wait, it's my turn. You're done. No, that was.
I had my border collie, beautiful, such a smart, beautiful dog, Levi, and she was just border collie, and then I got this little Maltese, little guy, and it was right at Christmas. And so it's Christmas Day, and my whole thing was whenever I always cook the neck. I love the turkey neck, you know what I mean? Like I take the turkey out and boil it and simmer it for a few hours, and love the turkey, high effort, low return to get the meat out of it, but I really love it. And so because I had the dogs, like the heart and the liver and gizzards and every other thing like that, and then I would feed it to the dog, to Levi, and then I had this little brand new puppy, and like it might have even been day one, Christmas Day that day, with this little puppy. I called him Major, because them little dogs have the big dog syndrome, kind of the little big dog syndrome, and so I called him Major. So here's the thing. I take a little bit of the, liver, mash it up, cut it up, and the gizzards and hearts and everything like this. And I put down, I put down 2 dishes, hey? And there's Levi being all like, the little Major monster, like, he's like snorting and inhaling what's on him. And then he rushes over to Levi's little plate and starts growling at her. And then eating hers. Dog is like 8 weeks old, I'm all like, oh my God, that is so funny. And Levi was always so patient with that little bugger, you know what I mean? And so that's just crazy. Like that dog really had character, and that's pretty moxie, you know what I mean?
Oh gosh, yeah. There was a YouTube thing on that had I think it was 4 Rottweilers and an itty bitty little thing.
Girl.
And they put treats down in front of all 4 of them and said, wait for it. And then when they said, okay, and the little itty bitty goes, gloop, 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 and eats them all. It was the weirdest thing ever.
I remember. Oh my God, that's funny. I get lost in those videos. It's like curses if somebody sends a video, an animal video, because then one leads to the next and to the next. It's a gateway video. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Your ass is numb, and you're like, oh, I gotta get away from this.
And your cheeks hurt from smiling.
Yeah, I love that.
They are so charming. They really are.
So so now listen, I do not see a single. Okay, Mary Margaret, are you just listening, Mary Margaret, or are you wanting a reading? I need to know you guys now. If anybody wants a reading.
Oh, she's listening. But I was gonna mention, you asked what was coming up and everything. Next Monday on my show is James Luce, and we're comparing predictions for next year. He does numerology. I do my thing. My overview for next year will be up by then. The following Monday is Michelle Avanti, who is an amazing astrologer. And she and I are going to compare whatever is going to be coming this next year. And we had some audio trouble when she was supposed to be on the show a while back. And so she hung up and I did the rest of the show. But some of the stuff that she said was really fascinating, and it'll be interesting to hear her do the whole thing. But she said a number of things were going to be that next year the chart for the country was the most unusual she had seen, and there were a couple of things that she had never seen before in charts. So it's going to be interesting to see what her take on everything is. So you know, it's kind of like it's a 1 year. Everybody's in a time of new beginnings and fresh starts. It's going to be a very exciting time, and then the last Monday of the year is Ray Booker, and he's and he sings. He brings Broadway shows into his readings, which I love. So he's gonna get up at 2:30 in the morning so that he can do the show.
I have totally lost track. Like, I used to go on Sundays and listen to him and Sarah over there on Broken Talk Radio, and I just don't ever get to Blog Talk anymore. Only reason I ever get to Blog Talk is when Renee's having a show. That's it. You know what I mean? And Renee hasn't had a show in a while. So I really haven't. Although it has come to my attention that Stalker Boy is back over there on Broken Talk into his 267 different profile now over there. And I don't care. You know what I mean? And I don't care. I have really, this past year, Barbara, has been very interesting to me because and maybe it's just an age thing, and I don't know what the other thing, what else I could attribute it to, but I'm taking the high road on so much more than I ever did before, you know?
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It's very good. It's very good. And I think that in a couple of cases, one in particular, I think that there had been somebody that's been working at trying to F me up for a long time now already. It's supposedly a friend of mine, and somebody that everybody here knows, and I'm not going to name. And all outward appearances is that they're my friend and that they're supportive and blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, over this past year and a half or something, they've been working very hard to screw me over. And I caught on to it quite a long while back. And I deliberately chose to not react in the same way that I normally would. And I specifically was all like, this person's looking for a very specific reaction from me. And I'm going to fuck their mind up by not giving it to them.
Good for you.
And then things escalated and escalated and escalated, and I still didn't do or say anything. You know what I mean? And I think the person has to be by now sitting there going, what is going on? Just when you think you know someone. And so that seems to have been the theme for this past year for me, I would say, in terms of any personal growth. And I can't say that I don't know if it's that I'm that much better of a person or I'm just tired anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, I think, at some point in time, we do get reflective and we do, how do I handle this better? And I have found that over time, I used to have a very sharp tongue, and I used to be able to really slice somebody up real good before they knew what happened to them, and I don't do that anymore. Well, no, I don't. I don't do that anymore, and in my head, I'm saying, you would be so easy to top. It's just not worth the effort. Now, that's not the spiritual way to go, but it's kind of like, why drag myself down to that level? I have a neighbor who I don't know. I think she didn't like the people who lived in the house before me, and so she doesn't like me because of association, and she really, really pushes my buttons, and at one point I realized that I was just ready to tell her what I thought of her, and be really mean and nasty, and I realized that the universe was giving me a mirror, and if I sank to her level, I became her, and I thought she's vile, and I just don't want to become that. So I took the higher road, and it felt good. Of course, slicing her up would have felt good too, but then you're back to square one, and you have to start all over again. So I just don't want to do that. But it's true. It's you get to a time where you become reflective and you realize that you're supposed to be growing, and if all you're doing is sitting in the same spot doing the same old thing, you're kind of wasting a lifetime. So it's a good thing to grow and to stretch and to move forward, whatever direction that is.
Right. Yeah.
So is Renee? By the way, you mentioned Renee? Is she? I know she's here, or she was. Is she better? Because I know she was having some difficulties.
Well, and I think that slowly and surely, you know what I mean. She's coming along, and so and I think that she's going to be for a while, anyways. Relocate whenever she does get going on her show. She's going to be relocating it to Corinne's place. So
what station is Corinne? Where does she?
Well, she has her supernatural radio over there on Broken Talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
all righty.
Because I mean, I guess to be paying what and then Renee hasn't had a show in quite a while, and so to be paying, and blah blah. So and Corinne is paying almost for having a show, just because she just never almost has a show. So there's two stations sitting there, so consolidate.
Well, that makes a great deal of sense, but it's funny because when everything kind of slammed down on her, she was supposed to do my show, and she called and she apologized, and she had to cancel, and she told me why, and I wrote her back and I said, when the universe stops me like you've been stopped, like a year ago when I fell on both my knees, and on a concrete floor, it was the universe saying, hey, you need to change things up, you need to shift things around, you need to, kind of get out of this loop that you're in and start doing new and different things. And, I said to her, have you thought about looking at what kind of changes you might need to make? Because this is the universe telling you it's time to shift something. I don't know what, but it with all of the things that hit her, it just seemed like the universe was saying, okay, stop, review, see what works, what doesn't work, and move into a new venue of some sort. Don't stop what you're very, very good at, obviously, but take a look at the things that are taking up your time that don't work for you anymore. And, by the way, Mary Margaret, my nightlight on freedomslips.com is on at 10 o'clock to 12 on Monday nights. And you can hear it in archive on the player on the front page of my website. You just scroll it on down, and they're all there. 40 or 50 of them.
Yeah. So,
is this a scarf you? And I got to ask you, is this a scarf on your head?
No, it's a skull cap.
Okay. Are you keeping the energy from the UFOs out, or?
It is tinfoil line. I use this to hide the fact that I'm covering my head in tinfoil. I think I'm a little wacky if I do that. So, really, my hair is getting to that length where it's in between, and it's a problem, number one. And number two, like, I'm so tired, and I really didn't feel like doing much with my hair today. And since I only woke up like about an hour, so I'm like, putting the skull cap on again, you know. I have the Christmas hat, standing by.
I think it's really, I think it's kind of cool. And I was wondering, were they taking the implants from the aliens out, or, there are lots of good stories you could have for that hat.
And, I don't know. I think some of them call it a do-rag. It's not, like.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, like I have made, I don't have anyone handy, but, you can make a skull cap almost really by using a bandana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is like with the little tail and everything else, like it's a skull cap. I call it a skull cap. I don't know what. I think they were made for motorcycle riders to put in,
It's really kind of cool. I mean, I'm just glad you haven't had brain surgery or something. It looks very pretty.
See, now the truth is out. That's really where I was the other night when I got Amy to co-host for me. I had to run out and get brain surgery.
Oh, okay.
It was a quick surgery because they didn't find my brain, so they showed me back up and sent me home. And said,
gotcha.
Can't do surgery. Not there. You know what I mean?
No, it's cool looking. I'm sitting here thinking, did she have surgery? Is her hair shaved? And how do I ask? But it appears that you're normal, so I figured I should ask. I said appears.
I'm a straight. See, you can see. It's like, see, my hair like gets all curly like this at some point, and it like goes and curls in crazy ways that I don't like. And it means that I gotta like soak my head down and then blow dry, and I'm like, I was not up to that today. I was not up to that. Hair and makeup is not, I could have just not gone on the camera. But people write me letters and everything when I don't know. That's it. I'm lying. People like always got a comment, there's been a few times where I've done the show and I haven't really felt presentable enough to have the video on. And, but the people have demanded the video. I don't understand why, really, but have demanded the radio. I think it's because of some kind.
Well, I think it's kind of like you invite them into your home, and that's a nice, cool thing.
Yeah, because if they really come and knock on my door, I ain't answering. That's the only way to get me away. And so here I'm gonna play a song. It is an hour in. You guys either are gonna have to call in and jump onto a conversation, call for a reading, ask questions in the chat room, or do something to contribute to this show. Okay? Barbara and I are just gonna say screw ya, and we're gonna get out of Dodge and go do something else with the rest of our night. And I'm actually starving because of the wacky day that I had, like where I didn't get to any sleeping until like late. It was dark already, and so I'm kind of. Then when I woke up, I was like kind of still trying to wake up and getting a few things done, and I'm hungry. Like when's the last time I ate something? I can't remember. I'm still doing protein only first meal, so I am still doing that, Barbara. And
that's great. Everybody I have talked to that actually did it had really good positive results from it. Not always what you expect, but spending those 2 hours listening to it and letting it just plant those seeds. I haven't had a Diet Coke. I'm totally off the aspartame. Now I have to get off the caffeine. But, and I have to tell you, it is the aspartame that is the real kicker. I had aches and pains for months. And it's only just recently that it's better. But they discovered also, they did blood tests on me, and they found that I had no vitamin D in my system. And I attribute that to the aspartame. I don't know that I don't know if chemically that's appropriate, but I drank a lot of that Diet Coke, and I won't touch a Diet Coke now. I just won't. And I really think that it probably screwed with my chemistry tremendously. And I still will drink a soda. I still have the caffeine, but I will not go near Diet Coke or Coke.
You know what's been bugging me is I've been trying to find, because there came a time a number of years ago where just about any gum out there is now with aspartame, and can't find like gum, and so I don't know. Does gum exist out there anymore, you guys? That doesn't have aspartame?
Probably
besides
not.
like bubble gum and blah blah blah. Like, I wouldn't mind getting some gum. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm gonna toss on a song. I'm gonna play actually two. Because the first one I want to play for Deb, it just jumped right out at me, and it's like back to the good old days or whatever. And so then the second one is another song by the same group that I like to hear. And so in total, it's like about 6.5 minutes. And so 3 minute and some odd second songs. And then we're going to try and find out whether you people want the show to continue tonight or what. So we'll be back in a little bit over 6 minutes. Hey, Deb, here you go. What is this? Do you remember?
Lazy yellow moon coming up tonight, shining through the trees. Crickets start singing and lightning bugs are floating on the breeze. Baby, get ready. Across the field where the creek turns back by the old stump road, I'm gonna take you to a special place that nobody knows. Baby, get ready. Ooh, you
one more quickie here.
Goodbye, Joe, me gotta go, me oh my oh. Me gotta go put a P-road down the bayou. My Yvonne, sweet as one, me oh my oh. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Give Joe Mountain, oh, the place is buzzing. The kinfolks come to see Yvonne by the dozen. Well, they're dressed in style, so hog wild, me oh my oh. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. For tonight I'm gonna see my Michelle Mio. Big guitar, Bill Fruit Jar, and Miguel. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Come on, Jimmy. Sounds real gone. I settled down far from town, I give me a zero. And I'm getting on a fish in the bayou. Drop my money by Yvonne, what you need, oh. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, the filet gumbo. For tonight I'm gonna see my Michelle Mio. Big guitar, Bill Fruit Jar, and Miguel. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Johnny! Oh, slow that thing, man! Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. For tonight I'm gonna see my Michelle Mio. Big guitar, Bill Jar, and Miguel. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. For tonight I'm gonna see my Michelle Mio. Big guitar, Bill Jar, and Miguel. Whoop now, son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Yes, we will. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou.
Are you looking for a place to meet like-minded people? Perhaps you're a light worker looking for a safe place to share your thoughts and services. We've got a place for you, IntuiTalks.com. Join for free, post updates, blogs, create and join groups via website or radio or class package. The possibilities are endless. Join the All Spiritual, All Under One Roof Network, www.IntuiTalks.com.
All right, welcome back. And I do want to mention, I've been so out of the loop, you know what I mean, with everything. But I did come across a post over there at IntuiTalks, and there is a contest. So drop over onto the IntuiTalks on Facebook and check out. There's a post there. Jenny's doing a thing, which is to say that if you know somebody who deserves to have a radio show, she's doing a free giveaway for a 1 year free IntuiTalks broadcast account. And so now the person who wins needs to be active. It's not just to have just whenever, like, they need to be a person that really wants to do a radio show and that will be committed and active and that kind of a thing. So I think that they're going to mention the winner announce the winner on Boxing Day. We call that Boxing Day, day after Christmas, December 26th. And so if any of you guys or know of anyone or anyone who's here wants to get involved with that, then I would highly recommend doing that. I will do a quick shout out. I see Christy's called in, and so then we'll go from there and see. Hi, Amy's all tucked away up there above me. Hello, Amy. How are you? Barbara DeLong is our guest, of course. Christy's called in and has unmuted herself now.
Oh.
And Christy's there. Dan, hi Dan, Deb, and Deborah, and Deb Schiller in Oklahoma, and Diane in Canada. Heath is here. Mary Margaret and Popeye the Sailor Man. Okay. That's shout out. Here comes Barbara DeLong. Hi, Barbara.
Hi there.
All right. So, do you have a question, Christy, or what? You weren't calling for a reading. You had. What you have?
I was wondering if she had, if Barbara has any forecast for 2017 for us, since we probably won't have a chance to talk to her before New Year's Day. Happy holidays, by the way, Barbara. If we don't get a chance to say, happy holidays and happy New Year.
Oh, to you too. Yeah, it's going to be a very unusual year. I've been working on the forecast, the overview for next year, and I normally can be called a Pollyanna, but I it's very difficult to really pull out and look at if I look just for the United States, it feels it goes from exhilaration to riots and stuff. So it's going to be a very interesting year to watch. I feel all of us are going to be very safe, but I feel that there is upheaval, and yet the upheaval brings greater balance and greater strength and greater structure. You know that old saying of you have to sometimes tear things down in order to build up greater strength and greater stability. And it feels to me as though that's something that is going on. When I talked to the astrologer, she had two predictions that she got out before all heck broke loose with her phone stuff, and she said something that I kind of agree with. She said that the March-April time frame there was going to be some sort of limitation on travel with everybody in the United States. And she wasn't exactly sure what it meant. I'm not either. I'm seeing communication breakdowns. And she saw in December, which I do not, by the way, but she saw December of next year there would be either an assassination or assassination attempt in December at the White House. Now, again, I don't see that. I see the thing that comes out at me the strongest is that between September and December, I see riots and fires in sanctuary cities. So I don't know what precipitates it, but I see that. It feels as though we are going through a birthing process, and it's not going to be a comfortable one, and yet it feels as though it strengthens us and it makes us as a nation much stronger. So it's kind of like the pieces of the puzzle are coming together, but they're not coming together fast enough for most of us. I feel that there is a greater sense of stability and confidence as we get from the March to the June time frame. It feels like we're really set free to sort of, it feels like we have a greater freedom as far as our own personal lives and things like that. I have no idea what's going to happen governmentally, but I'm looking energetically, and it feels as though the United States is going through an amazing one, a really great process. If I go globally, it does feel as though the many of the countries in the world are going through shifts and changes as well. Some will be overthrowing governments, and some will be dictatorships that we don't anticipate. We're going to see a refocusing on many different levels of a lot of the countries and borders in not only Europe but in Asia as well. And it does feel as though this is a time of really shifting around of all sorts of stuff. And the other thing that comes up here is that there is going to be a greater incidence of earthquakes all over the place. It feels like earthquakes are going to not only in this country but in Italy and Spain and in Japan. I'm looking for. I always talk about the New Madrid fault line because I really believe it's going to go off. And I'll say it again because I do know that even the government is preparing the schools along that line with survival kits for the kids. But I do feel that there is going to be a large earthquake in the United States, and I don't believe it's the San Andreas. So I'm kind of bracing for that. There are 4 major fault lines in the United States. I mean, major. There's the San Andreas, there's the New Madrid, there's one between the San Andreas and the New Madrid, and that kind of is in the center of the country, and then there's one up the Hudson as well. So I'm looking at this country experiencing a rather large earthquake. And the other place that I'm seeing a real big one is Japan. And if you could look, Japan is an island, but if you look underneath it, it's most you kind of consider that most islands are sitting on like the top of a mountain something, and Japan is not. The supportive structure beneath Japan is very, very weak. So it feels like there's going to be a major earthquake there at some point in time during this year. Not so much. I'm not seeing the volcanoes being as active as the earthquakes are. And it does feel as though our seasons are going to be very screwy yet again, so it's going to cause trouble with crops and stuff. However, I just feel the economy getting very, very much better. I don't know what the cause of it is. I just feel the economy is better. And I don't want to get into politics because I don't know enough about politics to make any sort of, comment one way or the other. I am feeling that there are going to be major conflicts in which we are going to send soldiers overseas. I'm not sure exactly where, but I know that we will be sending troops into it feels 3 different areas. Some as a police force, some as whatever else they go in as instructors or whatever they are. But I feel that if I look at it personally for the individuals, I would say individuals are going to find that there are shifts and changes within their life, and yet it feels as though everyone is going to come out of this with a stronger, more positive attitude, and I feel that finances are going to be much better for all of us. The money is going to come easier to us, and so our economic status is going to be, pretty super cool. But at the same time, and somebody asked what the sanctuary cities were, those are the cities that don't arrest and get rid of the aliens that are there illegally. And I feel that there is going to be a real strong movement to they're not declaring new laws. They're just going to insist that the laws there are followed, and there's going to be upheavals. And the worst ones, Chicago was the worst one I saw, and then it was San Francisco and L.A. They seem to be the holdouts. The other sanctuary cities, will fall into line. But those three areas, to me, seem to be the ones there's going to be the greatest amount of trouble and difficulty. I wouldn't travel to those places, especially in the fall to early winter time frame. That's when I'm seeing the difficulties. But on the whole, I would say that the people who have traditional jobs are going to find things easier, and those who are being very creative and inspirational are going to find that there's a greater market for the unusual and the creative, and it does feel as though spirituality, really is on the upswing here, and I'm seeing a resurgence of what once would have been called a religious movement. But it's a spiritual one, and I'm seeing traditional religions with people falling away and going in a more spiritual direction. So that what the standard dogma of organized churches is kind of falling into the background. I'm not saying it's going away, because it will never go away totally, but I am seeing the element of spirituality being something that is opening people's eyes to a lot of the changes that are going on, and making people, more conscious of the fact that they have control over their realities, and that they start taking charge of them. And as a result, you're going to see a lot of people beginning to come out of their shells, so to speak, and actually taking care of their lives to a much greater degree than ever before. That's part of my overview. And
I think that sounds great.
I'm sorry.
I think it sounds very positive to me, and I know that there was going to be a little bit of, ruckus, for the first 6 months, because we just had an election that didn't go as many people thought it would, which means they're going through a grieving period. And when people get over the grieving period, there's usually more energy, surrounding. So that part made sense too, when you said that there'll be more, energy at the end of the year. Everything will kind of balance itself out. That's a good thing, in my opinion. That sounded positive.
Oh, no, it really, in spite of all of the ick, it all is positive, and it feels as though, the foundation, and I've said this before a number of times, January, February, I see several foundations faltering and crumbling, and that's all I hear, and I don't know if it is the foundation of a corporate thing. I don't know if it's the foundation of a philosophy. All I know is January and February foundations fall and crumble. And we're going to have to just wait and see what that means, because there are lots of different ways you can interpret it, and I don't want to try, because then I'd be guessing. But I do hear foundations falling and crumbling. And it's only January and February. It's not that long to wait. We'll see it when it happens.
Well, in my opinion, that means stock up on coffee. That's the only thing I could going without.
I don't think you have to worry about coffee.
Well, in my household, it's never going to go to waste. So if there's a problem, I want to be prepared, damn it.
Okay, listen, I know exactly what you mean. There are a few things that I would prefer not to have to live without. Caffeine's one of them, actually. I may learn to drink coffee just to get my caffeine.
Right.
But,
I guess tea has even just as much caffeine as coffee. I've never been a tea drinker. I always assumed it was decaffeinated.
No, green tea. Green tea has a lot of caffeine.
Yeah, I could get used to that real easy then.
I think you'll be fine with caffeine. Don't worry about it. Let's see. If it makes you feel better, stock up on it.
There you go. It'll make me feel better.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Barbara. That was helpful.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Thank you, Christy. I'm going to park you.
Yeah.
And,
well, what's your New Year's Eve?
Sorry?
I wanted to know if Barbara had any fun plans for New Year's Eve.
Oh, if Barbara has any fun.
New Year's Eve? No. I usually try to balance my checkbook and start working on my taxes. I don't like to go out for New Year's Eve. I don't like to be on the road. I prefer to. This goes back to when I was married to the ship captain. He was never here for Christmas and New Year's Eve, so that was when I quietly sat and tried to balance my checkbook. I must point out that I never actually balanced it. It was always, it always came to that point where I just, took the bank balance and went from there for the next year.
Well, that's a good way to start out the year. But no, everyone's got different traditions depending on where you're from in the world. We were talking about this the other day. My family's always done like an oyster stew. And my grandmother and her mother, well, I guess my great-grandmother, and her mother, so it'd be my great-great-grandmother, they've always had oyster stew for us. And I know that there's other people that have, black-eyed peas, and there's different traditions. And when I worked at the Asian restaurant, they would put like bread and rice and coins in your pocket on New Year's Eve so that on New Year's Day you would have a plentiful crop or the next day, or you would have abundance with the coins. You shove it in your pocket. Make sure it's shoved in your pockets the night before. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Well, here's a good tradition that somebody gave to me last year, and I have saved this little tidbit because I think it's the greatest gift you can give somebody, and it's the legend of the bayberry candle. And you get, and this is the poem. It says, "A bayberry candle burnt to the socket will bring joy to the heart and gold to the pocket." And you can get the very short bayberry candles, and it says, "Light the candle after 10 p.m. on Christmas Eve and or New Year's Eve, and allow it to burn out completely into the next day for health, luck, and prosperity."
I like that.
And it's somebody gave me a very small bayberry candle, and almost like a tea light. And it was bayberry, and she gave me this poem, this little piece of paper with it, and I did it on New Year's Eve. I guess it has to be more than a tea light because after 10 p.m. It has to have
They go for a couple hours, those little tea light ones, don't they?
Yeah. I don't know, but it has to be bayberry. And you don't have to make wishes or anything like that, but it has to burn out completely, so don't blow it out and light it the next day.
Right.
And
I've never heard of bayberry. I had never heard of a bayberry candle. Don't have any idea what bayberry is.
Well, she's she's Irish, and she left a little bag with a bayberry candle and this little poem and stuff on my door before New Year's Eve. And it was just so sweet. I have had this thing sitting here for a year now, and I definitely plan to get the bayberry candle and do it again. I may do it both Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve because it's somebody said simple candle magic, and yeah, it is. But it was just sweet.
Awesome. So, hey, Christy?
Yeah. You want me to mute me?
Thanks. Sorry?
Are you going to mute me, or do you want me to mute me?
Yeah, you can go ahead and mute your damn self.
I'll mute my own.
Mute your own damn self.
Oh, is she anonymous? Oh, cool.
No, she was the cell phone,
the
I'm
cell
anonymous.
phone.
The cell phone.
Oh.
Michigan.
Okay.
So anybody else? The funny thing is that I did have a quick update regarding the woman that owes me that money, one of those women. And so in the another thing that was happening in the wee hours of the morning, all this stuff was happening at the same time. And so I wrote to the woman, and like I kind of just said to her, it's well over a month and still not even $10. You know what I mean? She said that she could not afford to send me $10 a week, but maybe she owes me over $2,000. She might be able to scrounge together to send me $10 a month. This is after over 2 years of paying me nothing and really trying to not even acknowledge my existence. And so I wrote to her, I'm like, oh, so over a month has gone by and not even $10 from you. You post last month that you were filming, which indicates employment when you told me that you had none. Now you've been to Mexico and having a great time. I don't care if you paid or not to go to Mexico. It's disgraceful that in over 1 month you could not even send me $10. I said, I need my money, Nicole. My patience and understanding is wearing out. I should not have to beg for money that I earn. And I go, maybe you should set up a GoFundMe account and have all of your friends send in money to help you clear this debt. And,
good one.
And I threw this like heavy thick for her to drive a point home. I go, my birthday and Christmas are coming and I can't even afford to go out for a burger, right? And my point here is I earned this money. Pay me, and at least make some effort. So anyway, she writes back and she goes, I love how you decide my life. And like, this is all a lie in my opinion. She goes, I taught in Mexico in exchange for medical, okay, how does this go? She goes, I love how you decide my life. I taught in Mexico in exchange for medical care for my parents. I'm so fucking sure, right? And she goes, we drove there. No flights. I didn't talk about flights. You know what I mean? So that sounds fishy. Then she goes, just doing what I could get to get proper care and help for my parents. She goes, you are heard and seen and understood. The film was a student film just so I can get taped to solicit work. If I had money, I would give it to you. She goes, I can send you another $10. I'm doing everything that I can, to clear this up and blah, blah. I go, sending another $10 indicates that you sent 10 already, but I haven't received any. Now, I had predicted that she was going to turn around whenever I did get a hold of her the next time and say, oh, I did send you money. It must have gone to the wrong place or something like that, right? And so that's, in fact, what wound up happening. And so she sent me $20. And then the whole PayPal has gone crazy. Now what PayPal forces me to do, and I've been on the phone to PayPal a few times, because before I had U.S. funds and Canadian funds. And if somebody sent me money from the U.S., it would go into my U.S. account, and so that if I was paying something American, it would be paid from my American account. And so now all of a sudden, money's coming in as American, and then it's being converted to my disadvantage into Canadian funds. And then when I have to pay something in American, I'm getting nailed again on the conversion. You know what I mean? And I have done everything 3 times on the phone with them. They told me, well, set U.S. as your main currency. Okay, did that. Received a little bit of money, and same thing. It came in as American, got automatically converted to Canadian, so that when I had to pay something in American, I got nailed on the conversion again. And so then I called them back again and said, like, you guys are killing me here. Every dollar matters to me right now, and I keep losing on this thing. And so I go, what? So they said, look at here, you should wipe out your Canadian, transfer it all to American, and have only an American, and then it should just start. So then this money that Nicole sends, she sends me 20. It comes in as 25 something Canadian, and then gets converted back to American and now becomes $18 and some odd cents American.
Oh, God.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, you guys? You're killing me. And that's not fair. And so it's just a crazy, I don't understand. You know what I mean? I just don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. So,
no, that does suck. So wait a minute. So here's a situation that has been, to say the least, frustrating to you. What did you learn from the whole thing?
What, the woman about not paying me?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it had to be a lesson that you learned from it. I mean, you experienced it, and you still are. So, what's the lesson?
I don't trust spiritual people.
No, it usually has a more positive flavor to it.
And no, there's that I'm too, I was too I let it go too long. I kept on saying, okay, it's blah, 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 blah. And I finally had to give up. You know what I mean? I finally had to give up. And so,
or could it be that you didn't value yourself enough to ask for the money up front or something like that?
Well, and way back when I first started, I didn't have a PayPal account. So I'm all like, don't worry, like send me a money and then that became a nightmare. So I got basically forced to set up a PayPal account just so I could get her to pay me. And then another woman called Wake Up Women representative, Karen Mayfield, who preaches on about abundance and sharing and giving and receiving and all this, and hasn't ever paid me or even responded to me. And she owes me $688.75 for about 2.5 years now. And so I was sitting here this morning going, like, I'm going to put this on blast on Facebook. Then I'm going to tag them on my own page, and I'm going to talk about this, and so that anybody, because when I tag them, it's going to go and show up on their page, right?
Yeah.
And because after fucking 2.5 years of being patient and everything like this, like, I give up. I'm not, they're not paying. And
yeah, but don't give don't give every spiritual person a bad whatever.
Of course not. I'm just saying,
there are one or two of us that actually pay our debts.
There's very honorable people out there. And so there totally is very honorable people out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of like being exaggerating, and but get me a biker. A biker tells me they're going to send me $20. They're going to send me $20. You know what I mean? It's not going to be because this is the tail end of like every excuse known to man, right? And finally, one time I put the pressure on her. I said, I'm not doing your show unless I get money. And she's all, I'll pay you triple. I really need you on this show because my whole career could be at stake with this. And so she said, so then she winds up sending it to me as a wire transfer. And out of whatever little bit that she sent me, like, I lost about 40% through bank fees. I wrote her back. I said, this is outrageous. And so it's been an ordeal. And you're right. I mean, and I was happy enough back in the old days, it wouldn't matter. Same with like this nickel and diming, getting me nickel and dimed by PayPal. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't matter to me. $5, $10, who cares? Like, in the good old days, none of that mattered. Now, like, if I'm getting ripped off for $1, I'm pissed off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I had a client who every time I did a reading for him, and I don't ask people to pay up front, but every time I read him, I had to chase him for a couple of months and finally send him a self-addressed stamped envelope. And after about, 5 years of this, when he said, it's time for our reading, and I said, absolutely, new policy here is you have to pay up front. And as soon as I get your check, we'll schedule. course, I never heard from him again, but I was just darned if I was going to do that dance again. It just, and it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth carrying him month to month to month, not seeing him pay. It was like he didn't value what I did as much as I did. So, So
I would never ever do, anything like, now that I do have a PayPal and everything like that, it would be, here, send the money to here, you know what I mean? And, now, that's kind of just the way it is. But I let it, trusting and believing in this bullshit lie and, being compassionate, I thought, AKA being a sucker. And so, but, it is what it is. It's just that right now, it's getting to me. It's really eating away at me. It's the last thing going on in my life right now that's really eating away at me. And I feel on principle, I do not want to walk away from $2,700 right now. They owe it to me, and I want it. So at $10 a month, I think that I'll be $104 by the time Nicole finishes paying.
Why don't you just say to her, you're going to force me to take legal action?
Because she knows as well as I know. Number one, my challenge is she's in the States and I'm here, right? And so if I'm going to have to sue her in her country, which means I would have to endure costs to go there and attend in court. I had thought about the idea of, hey, let's go on Judge Judy, because Dame with honor doesn't want to be seen on Judge Judy having ripped off, a little person.
What state is she in?
California, Hollywood. Are you kidding? She pays more than $10 for a coffee, I'm sure.
Then you get somebody to represent you and let them be you take them to small claims court.
Even if I win, I have no mechanism to collect. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with small claims. I would have all the costs would have to come to me to collect. And
yes, but I'm just saying the threat of it might be enough.
I just don't think that I don't think it would, to be honest. You know what I mean? She's like my emails to her have become stronger and stronger worded, and like now I'm out and out like saying to calling her pretty despicable. You know what I mean? And she's continuing to try to be. Yeah.
Well, I just kind of think that you could even get somebody that would do it pro bono.
I'm just saying there's still no way to collect it, even if I win.
I understand that, but the advertisement that she's been sued for not paying her debts and on Facebook and everything could be very embarrassing to her.
But there's court costs involved, and I do not want to throw good money after bad right now. I can't afford it, even if it's $50 to file the claim. You know what I mean? I cannot afford to pay $50. Even if I win the judgment, I have no way to collect the money.
And post on her Facebook page.
That's the next. So, but now as long as she continues to send me a little bit of money, then I'm going to kind of be stuck.
Let's see, $2,000 and $10 at a clip. How long will it take her? I should just have a calculator here. Let's see.
Oh, it's going to take a long time.
1, 2, 3.
$10 a month.
10.
Well, $120 a year.
That's 200 months by 12.
Yeah.
It's 16 years.
Yeah. I know.
Not charging interest, huh?
Right. Well, and that's the thing too, right?
I mean, that's ridiculous.
It is. But I'm not just going to lay down and walk away from it. Is the point? However much I got $20. You know what I mean? Woo! And so it's $20 I wouldn't have got if I wasn't continuing to nag. I shouldn't have to work this hard to get I'm having to work harder to get my money than the work that I did to earn it, you know?
Yeah, you produced her show, right?
Yes. Every Saturday and Sunday for, I don't know, a year and a half, I gave up my Saturday, right in the middle of the afternoon of both days. And not to mention how scattered and unorganized, and I had to always spend time chasing after her for, you know, who's your guest, where's the info, blah, blah, blah. And so, like, it was like the amount of time I spent for what, even if I would have been paid, it wouldn't have come close to properly compensating me. You know what I mean?
I do.
So, but nonetheless, like, my thing in this is that normally by now I would have given up, and I'm not going to just give up and walk. It's like, even if I only ever wind up collecting $50, I will have collected $50. You know what I mean?
Okay, that works.
And so she's normally, like I say, normally I would just walk away by now out of absolute frustration. And so that's another new change for me, I guess. Is that I'm not willing to do that. So yeah. So there you go. There's that update, you guys. Other than that, I guess we're just about done then, Barbara.
Okie dokie.
So,
well,
yeah, it is our last chance before Christmas and everything else. So, Merry Christmas. I hope you have a great Christmas and a really awesome 2017 for all of us. You know what I mean?
Well, if I get kittens, I will come on and show you kittens.
Oh, awesome. That's the beauty of IntuiTalks, you know, is that we get to have the video and everything else like that. Find Barbara, you guys, at www.barbara.delong.com. And I thank you so much for another year of,
yes, it's been a number of them, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I so appreciate your time and, your support of my show. It's meant a lot to me. And so here we are at the end of another year. And,
wow.
It's amazing how fast the time goes, right?
It is, isn't it? Well, I will be around, and, you know, like I said, if I do find my new kitties, I will definitely come and visit the show with them.
Awesome. I look forward to that. I'll be like all, oh,
yes.
And, all right. So until then, I guess we will see you in the new year.
I'll see you next year.
See you in 2017.
Yes.
And so, okay. Everybody go see Barbara. And, that's that. Peace out, Barbara DeLong.
Okie doke. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to you, too.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. And, okay, guys, I am going to toss on a quick song, and then we'll see if anybody's hanging out or what you guys are doing. And go for it, okay?
I took my love, took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can it shine within my heart right above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tide? Can I handle the seasons of my life? landslide is bringing it down. Oh, the landslide is bringing it down.
All right. Stop. Okay. One last quick thing here. Got it. Okay. Who's here? Is anybody coming on, or what are we doing?
I'm here.
Deb.
I'm here.
Yeah, so Gemini Moon.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Can you not hear me?
Well, I couldn't. I didn't hear you.
I was talking. Yeah, I was talking. So hello, Sayel. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
So what's on your mind, Deb? It's like it's just you and me.
What's on my mind? Well, I see Amy's there too. And
she can unmute herself, so.
Uh-huh.
That's why I'm saying it looks like it's just me and you.
Well, I don't know when I talked to you last.
What do you mean you don't know when you talked to me last? Just the other day.
Yeah, I don't know when it was. I can't remember anything right now.
Oh. All right. There's Amy. Hi, Amy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay.
How is everything? So yeah, I went to New York City. And but you'll like this. I twisted my ankle because like right around where the Rockefeller Center tree is, also where Trump Tower is, and it's like a total. It's just a mess. There's so many people, and someone pushed me off a curb, not on purpose, but because they were just so captivated by everything that they just weren't even paying attention to the fact that there were other people there. So, it was great fun. And then my daughter and I went on this genealogy, hunt, which was just unbelievable. And then, anyway, it was great, except for the ankle.
Why would I love to hear that you hurt your ankle?
What? Say that again?
Why would I love to hear that you hurt? You're like, you'll love to hear this.
Oh, because it happened at Trump Tower, which again it's Trump's fault.
Yeah, of course it's his fault. Bastard.
Yeah, it's his fault for creating this. That's why you would love to hear it, because it's just more evidence that you were right and I was wrong. So it's now causing me physical damage.
Yeah, payback is a bitch, eh? No good deed goes unpunished. You should sue him. He's a sue-happy guy. Why don't you sue him?
Yeah, I should.
Because, he's going to have a few extra $1 billion as a result of all of this,
Yeah, and they should all be mine.
Yeah, pretty last.
So, anyway, but now I'm home. But now I'm back home to my regular life.
I'm sorry that you got hurt.
But I'm better now. Anyway. What else?
So I escalated the situation on the woman, and that's good. Now I'm going to go. And then everything else happened today, all this other stuff. Like, I seriously wound up on the phone, and here I was minding my own, and I had written to Nicole. And then I'm sitting here minding my own business, and Yvette lets me know that Linda Crystal died. And then I'm onto the phone. Then Nicole writes me back, and I'm blah, blah, blah. And then I'm onto the phone with PayPal because of this whole conversion nightmare problem, everything else like this. Like I said, how come I followed your instructions? I got rid of the Canadian account. I converted whatever I had in there to American account to my loss again. And And it's cost me over and over and over this change. And I said, if you go and you look at my account all along, up until recently, American money has stayed as American money, come in and out as American money, Canadian money coming in and out as Canadian money. I do not understand why I'm having to pay all these extra fees and conversion rates and everything else like this. And I said, I have American only as my currency setting, no Canadian, and it's still happening. So I'm on the phone with them and back and forth with this and that. Then something else comes to my attention, and all of these synchronicities started to happen. And so then I wind up on the phone. I got muted. Then I wind up on the phone with another person, and then another thing comes in, and then the sister-in-law thing happens, and then blah. And like before I know it, it's freaking like 5 o'clock or something, and I really haven't slept at p.m. And I'm all like, I really gotta lay down if I can't hear. You know what I mean? And so, it's just been crazy day. And you weren't here. Were you here at the beginning of the show, Amy, about this whole sister-in-law business?
Yes, I was. That was crazy. Yes, I was for that.
Yeah, like right out of the blue.
Well, you see, that's the thing. It's like I like to put like when my friendships are over, I like to keep them out. You know what I mean? Like when I break up with a guy or when I stop being friends with someone or something, I just want to like toss them away. Like I want them to be gone, vanish. I don't want to recycle, but then I do. It never ends. Anyway, doing a horrible job of saying this, but sooner or later, it all comes back. It all comes back. I'm in the middle of this genealogy right now because my father's family tried to take like a whole bunch of branches of the family tree and just like put them in the wood chipper like they never existed. But I found them and they can't. And nothing ever goes away. Nothing ever goes away. But that's bizarre. It should be interesting. Maybe she will give you a job.
Yeah, and that wasn't the purpose. Like, there's what the purpose of her calling me in the first place? You know what I mean?
But that doesn't matter now that she's going to get you a job.
Now that I'm going to get a job.
What I'm more interested in, though, unfortunately, is the other thing, the new show on Blog Talk. Now, how long's that? Is it? What's that like?
What do you mean, new show on Blog Talk?
What you were talking, Stalker Boy.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't even care. I just am aware that he's there now.
Well, I care because I just love listening because it's just so entertaining. Can you give me a clue what it's called?
No, I don't know what it's called. I just look up Bear Hogan. It'd be easy.
I know it didn't pop up. Trust me, I have.
Oh my God.
But anyway, I'm probably not supposed to find it, so that's good.
It's going to be called Paranormal something. I think Corinne's the one that told me, so ask Corinne. She probably still has the link.
I think Corinne's there, isn't she? Corinne?
So anyway, she can PM it to you, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so,
yeah. Here, Corinne, I'm going to PM you.
Oh, I should stop. I'm busy doing something else. Hey, Amy, stop record. Can you hit the stop record button now that you can?